Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Live with Virginia NORML. It's Friday, April 1st, 2022, and I'm still J.M. Padini, the Development Director for the National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws and the Executive Director of the State Chapter, Virginia NORML. As always, we're going to talk all things cannabis in the Commonwealth and answer your burning questions live. I know it's April Fool's Day, friends, but listen, it's no joke when I tell you that today, again, for only the second time in over 50 years, U.S. House lawmakers approved legislation to end the federal prohibition of marijuana. That's right. A majority today of the U.S. House of Representatives passed the MORE Act. It's the Marijuana Opportunity, Reinvestment, and Expungement Act. So it has passed the U.S. House of Representatives. What it does is removes cannabis, marijuana with an H, marijuana from the Federal Controlled Substances Act, thereby allowing states to legalize cannabis free from federal interference. It also provides for expungement and resentencing of those with nonviolent federal marijuana convictions, promotes diverse participation in state-regulated cannabis industry, and helps repair some of the damage done by cannabis prohibition in the United States. Wow. So according to a just released Congressional Budget Office analysis, passage of this act would increase revenues by over $8 billion in 10 years. Would also significantly reduce federal prison costs. I'm sure you understand why. Hey everyone. Hi Bernie. Hi Marcy. Oh Marcy. You and your wishful thinking, friend. Hey Dennis and Kevin and Jennifer. Hey Evan. Applied Wizarding, you are not the only person. You're just the only person so far on YouTube. Most people are watching on Facebook. Fonz asks, which Republican senators do we send letters to? I'm so glad you asked. Here's the thing. In the Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, he has his own version of a bill to end federal cannabis prohibition. It's different. And so that's what we would expect to see brought for a markup in the Senate, not this version. Yeah. But to your original question, hey, if you head to normal.org/act, you can see our action alerts for all the pending federal legislation, as well as legislation that's pending for states, whatever state you might be in. There's legislation that's good or even bad. We've usually got an action alert for it. Hello, Michelle. Good to see you, friend. Hey, Robert. My dude has jokes. Yeah, Paul. I know. Hey, Jeff. Hey, Della and Bridge. Karen, it's no joke. The MORE Act really did pass the U.S. House of Representatives. Not kidding. Really did. So listen, let's go ahead and take a victory lap on that. Check out our blog at normal.org. Read that. If you didn't get an email from us celebrating this incredible victory, you're missing out. You should probably subscribe. If you're in Virginia, head straight to vanormal.org/subscribe. If you're anywhere else, just head to normal.org/subscribe. Drop your email in there and get the latest and greatest in all things cannabis policy and science from NORML every Thursday, and any breaking alerts as they might happen. Hey, Bernie. So this is pretty big news, right? Like, I'm sorry, we're not going to have a lot of exciting things to talk about in Virginia. We got some big stuff happening at the federal level. Hello, Janice in Indiana. Hello, Minter. Evan, this is a great question. So what it would mean for those who are incarcerated for federal crimes, it would allow for expungement or resentencing for those with nonviolent federal marijuana convictions. But the bill would have to pass the Senate. Hasn't done that yet. A little ways off from that. And then, of course, in Virginia, our legislature just abandoned those folks that are incarcerated for nonviolent marijuana crimes. Hi, Anthony. Good to see you. Welcome to the board, friend. Hey, Sharon in the Eastern Shore.
I didn't get that. Could you try again?
No, I cannot.
I'm not sure I understand.
Hey, Bill, that's a great question. Let's say it did. It wouldn't affect it in any way whatsoever. I mean, listen, there could be something that happens, with the bill that ends federal prohibition. There could be some broad implications for state level cannabis programs, but really the objective is to get out of the way of states, and we're not into that yet. Look, we'd have to have a bill pass 2 chambers and then hash out any differences. Asking for a friend. Everyone's got jokes today. Hello, Teresa. Hey, Pat. Thanks, buddy. I will. Yes, Evan, they would have to be federal, not Virginia charges, as far as the federal legislation would matter. All right, Joseph in Mississippi. Yikes, my dude, that sounds terrible. Cheers, buddy. Minter, look, we're halfway closer than we were before today. Listen, the Senate has their own version of this legislation. Specifically, Senator Schumer, Majority Leader Schumer, has his own version of a bill to end federal marijuana prohibition. So, he's going to have to get that bill heard, and just not there yet. Hey, Nick, for state representative in Tennessee. Thank you, my friend. That is very kind of you to say. I appreciate that. So, look, super excited about the MORE Act passing. I want to tell you about something else too. Also, I feel like I'm going to sneeze. This week, because we don't ever do anything on a small scale, we gotta do it all at once. This week, NORML put forth a new report, and you can download it for free. So I'll let you know that. NORML put forth a new report. It's comprehensive, and it looks at cannabis policies in adult use states. So it breaks down what each state with adult use has, or maybe doesn't have, when it comes to the sort of high points of regulation and policy. So this is available to you for free. You're welcome. You can go ahead and download that. Cassidy, I can see, is dropping the link in the chat right now for the blog about our new report. It's super awesome. It's called Marijuana Policies in Legal States. It's about 115 pages long. And not only does it have a breakdown of all the state policies, it has policy recommendations from NORML. So policy recommendations not only for federal cannabis policy, but also for states. So wherever you are, your state might need to legalize cannabis for adults 21 and older. And we've got those policy recommendations baked right into this report for you. Also, maybe you're in a state like, I don't know, Virginia, that needs to improve their adult use cannabis regulations. And we got some policy recommendations right in there for you too, Virginia. Don't you worry. All right, so everyone enjoy that report. Oh, that's an interesting question, Rick. I'm going to try to read that. Marcy, you're funny. Paul wants to ask about the MORE Act. When does it go to the Senate? Well, really what happens is Senator Schumer brings his own bill up in the Senate. So I don't know. Maybe he'll tell us when he's ready to do that. Rick, what do I have to say about NORML being pro-corporate pharma? Okay, first, this is what I have to say. NORML is not a business association. NORML doesn't represent corporate interests, full stop. NORML represents consumer interests. In fact, we're the only organization that does that, and we've been doing that for over 52 years. So I get it. Sometimes people or businesses that are making money on the backs of the people that we represent, sometimes they don't like when we say, hey, you need more regulations on your products because you might be endangering people who believe believe whatever your label says, and maybe your label's not accurate. Just for example, right? Sometimes people don't like when we say, hey, you know what? You probably need some third-party lab testing on those products. And they're mad because that's expensive. But you know what? Consumers deserve that. Consumers deserve products that are safe, convenient, and affordable. These are consumer interests. We're not a business organization. There are business associations out there. They're a dime a dozen. Go join one of those, bark up that tree, get all your big business dollars bundled up and lobby. We at NORML are going to continue to represent the interests of responsible consumers and those who oppose the policy of prohibition. That's what we're going to do. We here at NORML believe that those who do consume cannabis responsibly ought not to be treated like second-class citizens. And those are the policy areas that we focus on. Should the new cannabis industry be robust and diverse and create equitable opportunities for everyone? Of course. Still, we're not a business association. So that's what I got to say. Thanks for asking, Rick. Hey, Humble, thanks. Please share that action alert. It sounds like bedtime already. I know, Kenneth, I know. Hey, Kenneth, look, this is a far-reaching bill, the MORE Act, and there's some other far-reaching bills out there as well. Like, that's real noble, friends. I get it. Someone else was asking us about this earlier today. And then there are bills that are like the States Act, and that's not as good. It essentially creates carve-outs for states like Virginia that have chosen to legalize. There's a bill that shoots right down the middle of it, and we haven't seen it for a few years, but we have seen it before. It's called the Ending Federal Marijuana Prohibition Act, and it just removes marijuana from the Federal Controlled Substances Act and allows the states to set their own policies without threat of federal interference. And this is a clean bill and probably kind of what you're talking about, right? Sometimes a skinny bill is best. Not necessarily the best for talking points or politicking, but sometimes a skinny bill, I'm talking to you, Virginia, sometimes a skinny bill, or many skinny bills, is better than one giant bill that tries to do a whole bunch of stuff and just gets people worked up. How do I think Senator Hangersville affecting hemp will change this year? I don't know. Let's see if the governor makes any recommendations for amendments. I can tell you that, there's a special session on Monday. Is Monday the 4th? On Monday. But this special session is specific to the budget. Reconvened day, you also hear that referred to as veto session. That's April 27th. So any recommendations, policy recommendations, amendments are going to be made by April 27th. And then that's when the legislature would debate any proposed amendments and accept or reject them. Bernie, I hope that answered your question as well. Hey, Minter, yes, Virginia does have legal adult use here. We don't have retail sales yet for adult use. We only have medical retail sales at this point in time. The Virginia legislature failed yet again to pass that legislation this year, ultimately just left Virginians holding the bag on that one for at least another year. But legalization is the law of the land. Here in the Commonwealth, adults 21 and older can possess up to 1 ounce of marijuana on their person or in any public place. They must, if they choose to consume, they must do so in private. However, public consumption is subject to a $25 penalty for the first offense, and then it escalates. And remember, this is for adults 21 and older. For those under 21, there are penalties depending if they are above or below the age of 18. Adults 21 and older may also cultivate for personal use up to 4 plants per household. And they can share with each other. It's called adult sharing here in Virginia. You can share with other adults 21 and older in private up to 1 ounce of marijuana. Can't give it away when you sell your neighbor a lawnmower. You can't sell used books and give a gift. You can just share it in private, other adults, for funsies. Thanks for asking, Minter. Audrey, I can't look at your question, at your story right now, but I will later. I'm afraid to use the internet in the middle of the show. Denovan, you want a job. What do you do, bud? Listen, you're right. Your Virginia senators are not a problem, but some of your Virginia representatives are. Listen, Rick, I think what you ought to do is send the action alert on normal.org/act. They're also on the Virginia NORML action page as well, which is vanormal.org/act. But really, there are a number of federal priorities. I can see there are 6 federal action alerts on the action page. So send those. And really, I'm so glad you asked. What you can do is make sure you're talking to your elected officials, whether they're your U.S. senator, whether they are your congressperson, whether you're a state senator, your delegate in the House of Delegates in Virginia, even your local electeds, your Commonwealth attorney, your sheriff, your city council or town council or board of supervisors. If you're electing people to represent you in state, federal, or local government, they ought to know where you stand on the issue. There's a reason why this issue moves slowly and why people are so quick to just sort of throw up their hands and walk away from it. I'm looking at you, Virginia House of Delegates. It's because they don't actually care about it, and they don't care about it because they don't hear about it from their constituents. Seems like when they are hearing about it from their constituents, they're hearing about it from those who want to make money on it, right? But that's not where the primary interest in legalization or objective in legalization lies. Maybe we could care about consumers. Just putting that out there for you kids. Humble, I am glad that you are excited. Look at that. Hey, Jim, thankfully here in Virginia, we were able to legalize personal cultivation from day one of legalization. And you're right, it is a huge bureaucracy. Most things in the US are And it's really, Virginians are fortunate, but the Virginians that are fortunate are the ones generally who own their homes. And just because someone has the luxury of being able to cultivate cannabis at home for personal use doesn't necessarily mean that they want to or that they'll be good at it. So they're hopefully one day everyone will have the good fortune to choose between craft cannabis at the boutique dispensary, Marlboro greens at the convenience store, and pharmaceuticalized cannabinoids at CVS, and hopefully, personally cultivated cannabis from their backyard. But listen, I know it's probably not fun when I say it, but cannabis, while it's special in many ways, it's also not special. It's going to be commodified in the United States. Largely, it already is, just like everything else, because capitalism. Paul, we'll keep you posted on that one, bud. Hey, Kwame, good to see you. Yes, you can, Humble. And Humble can help you with equipment because they're a hydroponics store. Oh, James. Yeah, listen, James, there's a whole spreadsheet on the penalties that are in place because of the failure of the reenactment of legalization legislation in Virginia this year. Big shout out to Cassidy. Thank you, Cassidy. If everyone wants to thank Cassidy for her work putting together this very long spreadsheet, pick your emoji. Cassidy likes cats. Drop a cat emoji or a meow in the chat now. Thanks so much. She's going to love these comments. Meow, 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 meow. Thank you, Cassidy, for the spreadsheet. Cassidy will also, James, drop the spreadsheet, a link to the spreadsheet for you in the chat. I can give you a couple of quick examples. So there are code sections, let's say, about personal cultivation. And in these code sections, it does not specify what the penalty is. It does say that you must tag your plant with your name, your driver's license or state issued identification number, and that the plants are for personal use, and that the tag has to be attached to the plant. Now, it doesn't specify what the penalty is if you fail to do that, just that you have to do that. And when there isn't a specified penalty, the default is a class 6 felony. The same thing goes for not only not tagging your plants properly, but if your plants were visible from a public way. So you are allowed to cultivate plants outdoors. They just can't be visible from like the sidewalk or the street. If your neighbor can see in from their private property, that's different. But if you can stand on your sidewalk and see your plants, that's not good. That could also, because there's no specified penalty, be subject to a class 6 felony. So there was kind of this misnomer out there that, because 391 failed, Virginians were saved from new penalties. What really happened is Virginians are subject to a slew of misdemeanors, mandatory minimums, and felonies. So sure, a bunch of sections of code that really needed to be cleaned up so these terrible things didn't happen. That didn't happen, right? And then also some possession misdemeanors didn't get added. Anyhow, you can see I got feelings about that. Hey, Kwame, this is streaming on NORML's YouTube. We don't have a YouTube for Virginia NORML. We're just on NORML's YouTube. That's really awesome. That's really awesome. That's exactly what people should be doing. Thanks for sharing that with us. You know he didn't, Charlie. You know Rob Whitman voted no on the MORE Act. Congrats, Minter. Best of luck to you. Humble, I'm so glad to hear that for you. And look, that's exactly right, friends. You should absolutely get involved. It's pretty easy to make a difference if you just show up. I don't know when Chuck Schumer is going to introduce his bill of rights. Hi, Lauren. Lauren, thank you for dropping the cat emoji for Cassidy. I'm glad someone followed directions. Hi, Eileen. Everyone, it's Eileen's first time watching. Welcome. We do this every Friday. I can see you. Yes. Elizabeth, I can see you as well. Welcome. Do you have questions? Drop them in the chat. Hey, Angus. Lauren is bringing it home for us. Love it. All right. Hey, friends. So we talked about the MORE Act. We talked about the new NORML report, marijuana policies. And let's talk about events. Ooh, Cassidy, go grab the other event. There's an event I put it on our Facebook events tab, helpful, Gong Stock. Put that on there so I can talk about that. I'm going to do the National Cannabis Festival stuff first, and then I want to talk about Gong Stock. And Roger, if you're around and you can remind me what show it is, then I would do that one also. All right, let's do this. So there are, it's April, so it's the month that everyone else in the world remembers that marijuana is a thing, and it's super fun to talk about. Let's talk about the two big events that are coming up in April. This is the National Cannabis Policy Summit on April 22nd. I guess technically there's a third one, Cassidy, on the 24th at NCF. I forget what it's called. So listen, we're going to be at all of these. We're always at these. In fact, I've been on the advocacy committee for the National Cannabis Festival since it started. The first in the 3-day series of events is the National Cannabis Policy Summit, Friday, April 22nd in Washington, D.C. Now, you can get tickets for free. Ticketing just opened up for National Cannabis Policy Summit. They just opened up today. So you can RSVP for free. Your ticket will come right to your email for the summit. It's super cool. Definitely come to DC and come to the Policy Summit if you're able. If not, it's going to be live streamed, and so you can watch from the comfort of wherever you might be, but also free. Now, listen, the day after the Policy Summit is the festival. The National Cannabis Festival is April 23rd in Washington, D.C. at RFK. Tickets are available on the website. There is an all-day festival and a concert in the afternoon and evening. They've got a lot. Look, it must be 30 minutes that the timer's on. Excuse me while we turn the lights back on. They got a lot of stuff going on. There's an education pavilion. There's an exhibitor fair. There are VIP memberships available. There's a veterans lounge. There's the munchies zone. There's going to be the ultimate weed wedding. There's the Canna Tank competition, which is kind of like Shark Tank. Listen, and then there's a concert. And I guess it's like lots of them. But listen, Wiz Khalifa is headlining. So do I really need to say any more? Is that it? That's probably it. They'll probably take care of it. And then, this is now a 3-day event because they have added the National Cannabis Championship on April 24th. There's an award show and a party. I'm going to read you what it says. Celebrate good cannabis cultivation at our, meaning National Cannabis Festival's ours, inaugural NCC award show, recognizing the best homegrown flower entries from DC and Virginia, and flower and topical and edible hemp entries from New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Delaware, Maryland, Virginia, West Virginia, and DC. So there's all the information you need for everything related to the National Cannabis Festival at nationalcannabisfestival.com. So get your tickets, come see us at the NORML booth, buy some cool socks, maybe get a t-shirt, scan our QR code, do a little policy advocacy work. It'll be great. And it won't be 8,000 degrees, so I'm super excited about that. All right, so we talked about all of the National Cannabis Festival events. If you are down in the Hampton Roads area and you're like, listen, it's just too far to go, good news. Benchtop Brewing in Norfolk is having the Gong Stock Festival again. They've done this for a few years now, and Virginia NORML and Cruel Consequences will be there thanks to Tamara. So if you look for something to do in the Virginia Beach area, head over to Benchtop Brewing on the 23rd and 24th from 12 to 10 p.m. for Gong Stock. Be sure to stop by and say hi to Tamara at the Virginia NORML and Cruel Consequences exhibit. And if you would like to volunteer, and I know you do, please send us an email so we can hook you up with Tamara. You can send it right to info@virginianormal.org. Heck, you can even message us on Facebook. The Virginia NORML one. Just gonna leave that right there. No, I'm not, because then I gotta show this too. Oh, thank you, friends. Oh, look at that. You know what we don't need is that. We don't need that. Let's do that first. I love it. All right, friends. Listen, if you have any questions, you can drop those in the chat. I don't know why I'm pointing down. I don't know where it is for you. It's actually over there on my screen. You can drop those in the chat. If you're watching this later, listen, we love to answer your questions over the weekend. So just drop your questions in the chat or shoot us an email at info@virginianormal.org or at chapters@normal.org. We'd be happy to answer them for you or help you get connected with your NORML chapter so you can do awesome stuff too. Hey, if you're in Virginia, we have an action alert for the pending medical legislation. Good news, good news, really, really good news. Comprehensive legislation was passed that will end the requirement of patient registration in Virginia. We have an action alert to Governor Youngkin asking him not only to sign the bill, but to expedite the date that it takes effect. There's a backlog of about 8,000 patient applications in Virginia right now. I feel bad for those people that are still waiting. And this bill is going to take effect on July 1st, but it could take effect sooner. That was weird. That would require action by Governor Youngkin. So if you're in Virginia, take a quick second and send that action alert. I can see Cassidy just dropped that in the chat for everyone. Thank you very much. KA, you just signed up for the summit. Does that mean I'm going to see you there? Are you going to come get socks? I can't wait. Awesome, friends. I love it. Ooh. All right. Well, this has been delightful as always, friends. If you have any questions, drop them in the chat. We'll take a look at it over the weekend. Otherwise, I hope you can join us back here next Friday for another, I don't know who that is, and we don't want to talk to them right now. You can join us for another episode. Oh, hello, Travis, for running in the 11th hour. You did just come out from under your rock. Everyone tell Travis what happened. That's right, it passed. Of course it passed. Not an April Fool's joke. The more active passed the House today. All right, friends. Everyone have a great weekend. Enjoy the nice spring weather. And I will see you back here next Friday for another episode of Live with Virginia NORML. Thanks, and see you next week.